Hello and welcome. You know, being a parent is probably the most incredible job on the planet, but let's be real, it's not always a walk in the park. So today we're going to dive into pediatric psychology. And this is really just a simple guide for you, for parents, on how to support your child's emotional well-being as they grow.
We're kicking things off with this quote because, honestly, it's the whole point. Think about it. We're so good at scheduling those regular checkups for our kids' physical health, right? Well, their emotional health deserves that exact same care and attention. It's really the foundation for, well, everything. So let's start with the big question. What is pediatric psychology really? And more importantly, why should it matter to you and your family? Let's break it down. Okay, so at its heart, pediatric psychology is a pretty specialized field. You can think of these professionals as kind of like guides for that super complex world inside a child's mind. They're specifically trained to understand all the unique emotional, behavioral, and developmental twists and turns that come with growing up. And the whole purpose here is to be proactive. This isn't about fixing a problem. Nope. It's all about using tools like early diagnosis and therapy to give both kids and their families the skills and confidence they need to build a really strong future together. So, what does this look like in the real world? What are some of the situations where a pediatric psychologist can really make a difference? This next section is all about spotting those common challenges and knowing the signs to look for. First up, we've got learning and developmental challenges. So this could include conditions like autism spectrum disorder or dyslexia. But this goes way beyond just struggling with homework. It's about how a child actually experiences the world around them. And a psychologist can help create strategies that are tailored specifically to your child's unique way of learning and interacting. Then, of course, there are challenges with behavior and focus. You might see this as ADHD, or maybe constant defiance, or, those big explosive feelings that can feel really tough on the whole family. The goal here is absolutely not punishment. It's about getting to the root cause and teaching your child new ways to manage those incredibly powerful impulses. And finally, we have the emotional and social hurdles. Things like anxiety, depression, or having a really hard time making friends. These are very real for so many kids. This is exactly where a psychologist can step in to help them build social skills and find healthy ways to cope with those tough, heavy emotions. Okay, so if any of that sounded a little familiar, you might be wondering, what does getting help actually look like? Well, in this section, we're going to walk through the kinds of services and therapies that are out there to support your child. The therapeutic journey isn't just a random shot in the dark. It's a really structured process. It always starts with a thorough assessment, because you just can't help a child without first understanding their unique world. From there, a personalized care plan gets created. Then comes therapy. But it doesn't happen in a bubble. And this is so important. It involves close collaboration with you, the parents, and often with your child's school too. These are some of the core services that really form the foundation of support. And it's so much more than just talking to your child. It includes things like early intervention, assessing developmental milestones to catch things early. It's about teaching emotional regulation, which, is really just the ability to understand and manage big feelings in a healthy way. And crucially, it includes parental counseling, because you are the most important person in your child's support system. And the support can get really specialized. It could mean using creative outlets like play and art therapy, or tackling very modern challenges like screen time dependency. Or maybe it's helping a child navigate huge life transitions, like a move or a new school. This field is always adapting to what families really need right now. All right, I bet a lot of you have some questions buzzing around your head right about now. So this next section is all about answering some of the most common ones that parents have when they're thinking about this path. This is the big one, isn't it? That moment where you're wondering, is this just a phase or is it something more? It's a question pretty much every parent asks themselves at some point. The key word here, the one to really remember, is persistent. We're not talking about one bad day or a rough week. Kids have those. But if you're noticing a lasting shift in their mood, their behavior, how they're doing in school, or how they interact with their friends, that's a good sign it might be time to seek some support. This is another one that confuses a lot of people. Psychologist, psychiatrist. They sound similar, right? They both help, but their training and the tools they use are actually different. And understanding that difference helps you know where to even start. So here's the simple breakdown.
think of a psychologist as a talk therapist. They use counseling, evaluations, and behavioral strategies to help. A psychiatrist, on the other hand, is a medical doctor. They can also provide therapy, but they are the ones who can prescribe medication if it's needed as part of a treatment plan.
We mentioned play therapy a minute ago, and I get it. It might sound a little odd. Like, how does just playing actually help anything? Well, it's actually a very powerful and respected way to do therapy with kids.
See, for a child, play is their natural language. It's how they make sense of the world. So when they don't have the words to explain big, confusing feelings like fear or sadness, they can act them out through play. It lets them process what they're going through in a way that feels natural and safe, all without the pressure of having a face-to-face conversation. And that brings us to our final section. Let's pull all of this together and really focus on the end game here, which is helping your child not just get by, but to truly thrive. This quote, it just gets to the very heart of it all, doesn't it? Pediatric psychology is about creating that space where a child feels truly seen and heard and understood. And honestly, that might be one of the greatest gifts we can ever give them. So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Seeking support for your child is not a sign of weakness. It's about building strength. The whole goal is to give them the tools to face challenges, to bounce back from setbacks, and to grow into confident, resilient people. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. It doesn't have to be some huge action. Maybe it's just asking them how they're really feeling, or validating their frustration instead of dismissing it. Or maybe it's just sitting with them and listening without trying to fix anything. What's one small step you can take today?